Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to See Here. It's a beautiful day here in Maine. We are in Maine. We are in the beautiful region of Portland, Maine, Casco Bay, and we're taking a flight to Manchester, New Hampshire, to Manchester Regional Airport. There, it's just back on the northeast here of the United States. It's the first day of spring, so let's get going. We're going to depart from Portland. We're going to take a look at the beautiful Casco Bay and the Atlantic Ocean. Hopefully we'll see some vessels. I got the new add-on called Vessels, Global Vessels. Maybe we'll see a couple of those, see how that works. And then we're going to turn west and track around 2:30 towards New Hampshire, towards the New Hampshire border. We've got a couple of VORs there, the ENE and the CON, and we'll track that into Manchester. And a couple of checkpoints here, VOR checkpoints here. The first one will have Lake Winnipesaukee to our right. And as we cross into New Hampshire, we're going to take a look at the right, and we'll spot it. It's blue waters of the Lake Winnipesaukee. Hopefully we'll see it. I'll try to head on that direction, and then we'll it's at the foothills of the White Mountains there, so they'll see still snow in there in those White Mountains. And and then checkpoint number 2 will be the Hooksett Bend, and as we align onto our final approach into Manchester from the north, we'll pick up the Merrimack River, and you'll get a fantastic low altitude aerial view right over the town of Hooksett as we follow the river bend straight towards the runway. So we can't miss it. It's really easy to fly VOR here in this area. There are a lot of checkpoints that we can see. And then we'll finally get into Manchester Regional Airport there. And as we taxi into the runway, we're going to highlight the Friends of the Manchester Animal Shelter. And that was founded in 1996. So let's get into the Baron. Let's get going and join me on our way to the runway. Let's take a look at that video on the Friends of Manchester Animal Shelter there. And if you're in the area here, you can get your best co-pilot there, and if not, check out, it's always good to know what other cities around the world are doing in terms of saving animals and promoting pet adoptions.
The Manchester Animal Shelter, located in New Hampshire, operates under a different set of rules. Rather than functioning as a passive holding facility, FMAS is built to act as a strategic defense hub for the entire community. Their stated mission targets a specific, measurable metric: absolute zero population growth. Hitting that zero growth target requires treating animal rescue as an interlocking system of community interventions. It involves medical logistics, economic support, and specialized routing, rather than just managing an adoption floor. Achieving a stagnant population curve requires completely restructuring how an animal welfare organization interacts with the city it serves. Manchester Animal Shelter deployed the Canine Quick Fix and Feline Quick Fix programs. These are highly targeted, accessible spay and neuter clinics designed specifically to disrupt the breeding cycle. By providing these localized surgical interventions, the shelter cuts off the exponential growth curve at its literal root, preventing thousands of future intakes before they happen. The second major hurdle in shelter medicine involves severe trauma. Injured strays arriving at a facility typically require high-cost veterinary care, draining operational budgets and often leading to euthanasia when funds run dry. FAMAS solves this bottleneck through the Tonka Medical Fund. This is a dedicated pool of capital strictly allocated to treat severe injuries. It ensures that an animal requiring complex surgery receives the necessary care instead of being abandoned due to cost. By combining mass sterilization with a dedicated trauma fund, the organization shifts from a reactive pound scrambling to house animals into a proactive medical clinic solving the intake problem at its source. There is a counterintuitive metric at the core of this model. The most successful day for a modern shelter is the day an animal does not walk through its front doors. A large percentage of surrendered pets are not given up due to a lack of love, but due to temporary economic hardship. When families hit financial roadblocks, the cost of feeding a pet often forces them to surrender the animal to the state. This flowchart models how the FAMAS pet food pantry creates an economic buffer. By providing free, accessible pet food to the community, the pantry intercepts families at their most vulnerable point, allowing the animal to remain safely in its original home. Long-term prevention is handled by their humane education programs. This acts as a cultural shield, teaching the next generation of owners about responsible care and behavior, which directly prevents future abandonments. An empty cage inside the shelter is a victory, provided the animal that would have occupied it was successfully kept with its family. Even with strict prevention, anomalies remain. Feral, aggressive, or severely traumatized animals routinely enter the system, and these profiles rarely survive a standard residential adoption. For unsocialized felines, the shelter utilizes a specialized routing mechanism known as the Barn Cats program. Instead of attempting to force a feral cat into a suburban living room, this program relocates them to local farms. Here, they serve as highly effective natural pest control, giving the animal a safe environment and a utilitarian purpose. Simultaneously, the Pets for Vets program routes specific companion animals to military veterans. This carefully matches high-needs pets with individuals seeking emotional support, facilitating a mutual recovery process. By engineering these custom pathways, the shelter effectively eliminates the label of unadoptable. Every animal is assigned a specific, functional place within the societal ecosystem. The Manchester Animal Shelter operates on the belief that all animals deserve life, respect, and care. That infrastructure is built directly by the public. It relies on active volunteering, planned financial giving, and grassroots funding mechanisms like the purchasing of commemorative bricks at the facility. Community mobilization events serve as the primary funding arteries for this zero population mission. Upcoming initiatives like Mutt Strut 2026 bring the city together to physically walk the pavement. By investing in these community-wide solutions, we are building toward a future where animal shelters are no longer necessary at all.
Airbus 1123 ready for departure, runway 18.
Airbus 1123 Portland Tower, wind calm, fly heading 180, runway 18 cleared for takeoff.
180, we'll set.
180, runway 18 cleared for takeoff. Airbus 1123.
Let's do a rolling takeoff here. It looks pretty challenging here. Maybe I'll just quickly take off. Alright, let's get out of this mess of an airport. And we'll fly runway heading. Let's go and take a look at Casco Bay. There are plenty of...
Contact Portland departure.
Contact Portland departure.
Let's look at these. See if we can see some of the vessels here.
Airbus 1123.
I see one to our left here. Yeah, I see plenty of vessels there.
Boston Center, Airbus 1123 through 2000.
Let's take a look at that vessel there. Yeah. Looks good. Looks like a cargo vessel. Plenty of those here in Casco Bay. Alright, 4,000 and heading is 300. It's the city of Portland. Down to our right. Alright, there we go. Inside temperature is 67. Then let's get rid of the landing lights and the taxi lights. We got our lights correct. We have our pitot. We don't need any windshield heat or anything like that. Everything else looks pretty good. Let's bring our RPMs to 2,500. Enjoy the flight. Put some music And we'll check on our VOR checkpoints and yeah, join me on our approach and landing. All right, we have our first VFR checkpoint here, which is Lake Winnipesaukee. You can't miss it. Even if it's cloudy, you can't miss it. So we are on course, and we're heading down to the Concord VOR there, and then straight into the Manchester airport. So as we hit Concord VOR, we'll make sure that we check on our second checkpoint.
Contact Boston, Center 128.325, see you.
Contact Boston, Center 128.325, Airbus 1123.
All right, we got the visual approach for runway 17 into Manchester.
1123, descend maintain 3000, altimeter 3006.
Descend maintain 3000, altimeter 3006, Airbus 1123.
3000. And as we can see, we are looking at the Merrimack River over here. And just a little bit over here, this is called the Bow power plant. And here we have the Hooksett Bend. So we'll get a little bit closer here. This is the city of Concord, New Hampshire. It's the capital city. So in terms of VFR, we're doing great. You can't go wrong here flying in this weather VFR, low and slow. Go ahead and then turn left. 174, we're following the river over here, see? And there's the Hooksett Bend. Like I said, this is the power plant. The town of Hooksett, New Hampshire. If you ever traveled in this area and going north to the ski resorts, you take I-93 coming from Boston, and you hit the Hooksett toll booth there, and then you stop to get some booze. You get you know, the cheaper alcohol that you can get from, because there are no taxes. There's the field. That's runway 17 and going too fast.
Airport is at 212 o'clock, 9 miles. Report the field in sight.
All right, we're got the field in sight.
Airbus 1123.
Airbus 1123, cleared visual approach runway 17.
Cleared visual approach 17, Airbus 1123.
All right, let's set up for our landing here. Landing lights are on. Prop full forward. Everything else looks good. Let's get a set of flaps in here. Here's the city of Manchester. That's runway 17. Looking nice and smooth here. I'm just gonna keep our flaps at first takeoff flaps. No need for full flaps. Plenty of runway here. Looking good. We got about a little bit of a crosswind, 5 knots. Not a big deal. Airspeed looks good. Yeah, this is also a payware airport, so you see a little bit of a issue with, look at that, elevation information, but the runway looks good. Should have touched down by now.
Airbus 1123, contact ground 121.9er. Have a good day.
Ground 121.9er Airbus.
All right, let's
1123,
clean
take
this up.
care.
Flaps are up. Weather radar is off. Taxi lights are on. Landing lights are off. Request taxi assignment to
Airbus
the ramp.
1123, request taxi to allocated ramp.
All right, my friends. Thank you for flying Seagy Air. Remember, Seagy Air will always get you there. Seagy Air is best in the air, and I really don't make this stuff up. I'm only told what to say, my friends. We'll see you on the next flight. We're gonna fly into Massachusetts and highlight some of the pet adoption centers there in Mass. All right. See you on the next one.